Thank you for coming this evening, and forgive the bright lights, but we are recording it for the people who couldn't make it tonight, and to go through different things. For people who don't know me, I'm Martin Jackson. I'm the Chief Exec of IPRS, and I hope you enjoy our little run through of what we've got to do. We're hopefully hoping all the technology will work, which is always a concern, but we'll see how it goes. So what we thought we'd start off by doing is, obviously, Health provides a number of different services across to you and through into your clients in different areas, which you're well aware of. And the bit we really thought we would focus on this evening and where we see things developing is really around the virtual rehab area. Virtual rehab is quite an interesting service that we've been providing for a long time. We started this sort of in 2006 as we started to get involved in the whiplash claim side, and it's really developed, over the years, where we've brought in different improvements and different services as we've moved forward. And really, as we got into 2015, we started to say, well, actually, the virtual rehab system works well, but really, how can we develop it? How can we move it on? And how can we make it far more interactive in the way we need it to work? So really, from 2017, we really felt that there was good opportunities around to maybe do something a bit different. When you start to talk to people about VR, how it works, what the issues are, how we could do it better, you get really interesting feedback, we're trying to follow the exercises that we're delivering, but we're not really sure whether we're doing them right. I like the virtual advice and the guidance, but people miss that talking or that visual individual when you're talking to a clinician. It's happy down the phone, but there's nothing better a bit face-to-face. And also, they apparently feel assured when they start sending pictures of their bruising and swelling, but we won't go into that. And lots of different chatter and lots of different things. So we were starting to think, well, actually, if we're going to move this forward, really, how could we do this? How could we really make it interactive? And what has driven this are these things: the development of smartphones and the ability to deliver service through smartphone technology. We really start to think, hang on a minute, it could be a time here where we could really move this service forward. So when you look at the virtual world, it is really staggering when you start to dig into this area. Over 80% of people have a smartphone, but over 90% of the under 44s do. So clearly, as things are moving forward, that's where these services are going to be delivered. Phones are now 4G enabled in everywhere, 90%. Huge amount of money is going into the improvements of broadband, Wi-Fi. Even where I live, we get 200 megajobbies on the broadband. It's amazing. People are starting to get used to downloading apps and then having a service delivered through it. We talk to our bank that way, we book our tickets that way, we do all sorts of things through an app, and we've specifically downloaded it to deliver a service, which is interesting. And everybody spends all their time looking at these things, The amount of people you see, it's the first thing everybody seems to do nowadays, isn't it? It used to be you did this, trying to find a signal, but not anymore. So clearly, the technology is moving on at a pace. So we're really thinking, how can this integrate into healthcare? Then you start to look at the way people are actually integrating and talking to other people and talking to the internet and working on different services on the internet. Mobile devices are becoming the way that people do this. So clearly we're starting to see a situation where we have a market that is developing, people are getting used to doing things on smartphones, and also the infrastructure is speeding up and getting to the point where actually we could deliver some really good services through these things. So you then start to look at how people are actually using their phones. And this is quite interesting about the increase of use just between 2015 and 2016, 1 year, about how the volume of stuff is going on around smartphones. And what was really critical to us, and again, interesting about as you look at healthcare, is the great increase in video calling. So again, people are getting used to having services delivered through this technology. So digital healthcare in general, again, is starting to be pushed to the front of everybody's minds. Everybody's starting to look at how we can do things. Lots of reports are coming out now where actually digital healthcare services are starting to be accepted, seen as the norm, and as long as it's very good and the quality is high. That's a McKinsey one, that's a Harvard one. Again, we're really starting to see some positive noises coming about of what could be delivered through a smartphone. So what's our solution? What's our idea? What I'm now going to do is pass you across to Mark, who's going to take you through this. This is where we hope the technology works.
Okay, so over to me, and what I'm going to be talking about today is actually what the product and services we've delivered. So this is, as you probably guessed it, is the IPRS Health app. What we've done is we've taken everything that we've done well in the last 10 years in different places on different platforms and tried to bring it all close together under one roof. So let's have a look at how we use apps. This is my journey today. So I bought my train ticket via an app and I used the barcode to scan myself onto the train. Had to get my daily fix of my Starbucks, so went to pay for it with my app. I then met Scott. Scott's in here somewhere. So Scott sent me an invitation for the meeting this morning with an attachment with the app. So I used the map app to get me to the location. And then because I walked everywhere, I used my watch to check on my activity cycles. So current platform as we're using at the moment is one of the market-leading services and the platforms anyway. We've been using this platform for around 14, 15 months now, and it's providing very high-definition, high-resolution exercises via the smartphone or our desktops via an online browser. What we've generally allowed to do with this platform is it does provide very limited live data transference between the clinician and the physio. So yeah, we do get some feedback, but it's all reactive rather than actual live going to and fro the patient. It does allow some adherence and compliance tracking, so it does allow us to monitor whether patients are using this platform to do their exercises, and it is allowing pain levels to be transferred back to the clinician. But what it is, it's been traditionally supported by a traditional telephone method. So yes, you've got all the online platforms that look pretty good up there, but it's always been supported by a traditional telephone call, which comes with barriers. So today's developments, we're talking about two big things really. The first one being the development of what we call in My IPRS Health, or myiprshealth.com. It's a desktop version of a self-help education and advice portal. Patients can use the portal to go and click on different parts of the body to get proactive advice about an injury. So somebody sprained an ankle getting off a tube, they can log onto this portal, having access to videos, diagrams, education, exercises in order to proactively manage their injury without even having spoken to a physio. What it also does is provide general advice and tips about being healthy, and it provides a live link to our clinical Twitter account where we've got interviews with physios, advice about research, what to do, what not to do, all live on myiprshealth.com. And that's available this month. The second development is the IPRS Health app. Now what we've done is we've just started to bring all those platforms we've got in different places into one portal, and that does start with the myiprshealth.com, which is available as a mobile browser version within the app. Now the second piece, which is really the sort of creme de la creme of the app really, and what brings a market-leading service to the musculoskeletal field, is the use of telephone visual triage. So instead of the traditional methodology of using telephone triage via a telephone, it's using technologies that we've seen in the industry, and the likes of Apple have brought it to sort of popularity with the use of FaceTime. This technology is all embedded, all secure, all built in-house within the app, so it's not using any third-party applications at all. But what it does allow is that direct communication between patient and the physio. The same quality and online exercise that we've talked about on the previous slide continues to be embedded within the app, and all that tracking and adherence and compliance tracking is still embedded in there, and it does allow that patient to be able to see how they've been performing with their exercises and how their pain levels are hopefully reducing as they've gone through the rehab. Now to bring this to light and to kind of give us a live, to lead us into a live demo, we've just put together a very quick case study, and I'm just going to introduce the case study now.
So, let's have a look at the app and see how it works within a patient journey. Let's meet a patient. Here's Mr. Typical. He's a 45-year-old male who works extremely hard and enjoys playing football with his son. Unfortunately, he's about to have an accident at work. Let's see how our app can help him from injury, back to work, back doing what he loves with his family. Last year, there were over 620,000 work injuries reported. Our Mr. Typical is about to add to that number. And there he goes. Unfortunate for Mr. Typical. So what can he do next, and how can our app help? Next, our patient has to inform his line manager or health and safety manager that the injury has occurred. The Health and Safety or line manager is then able to make a referral through our online portal. Once there, they will be able to choose the visual triage referral option. This is where the IPRS Health app comes into play. It's available on all multimedia devices, including an Apple Watch, from both the Android and the Apple Store. So our patient has downloaded the app and he's had his referral. How then does Mr. Typical go from being injured back to successful return to work and doing what he loves? Let's go back over to Mark for a demonstration of how it works.
Thank you, Ashley. He's not here in person, but he's here in animation. So let's just have a quick look at this again. So the couple of key highlights. We've got the embedding of myiprsshealth.com. We've got the online exercises. We've got the visual triage. And then we've got the analytics that the patient and the physio can both access. So what does this mean? The biggest thing it allows is it prevents what was previously a big loop. So having a telephone triage, and then sometimes a physio saying to the patients, I'm not really sure, let's have a look at that swelling, email me a photo. There used to be a cycle of events before we actually had that visual face-to-face contact. What this visual triage piece is now allowing is sort of live, direct interaction. And it's taken what was previously only available in face-to-face clinics with a physiotherapist, for example, is now using the virtual rehab platform to deliver what has only been available in face-to-face clinics. It removes typical triage barriers. So we've often got, in the years we've been doing this, people saying, can you really deliver physio over the telephone? As a physio myself, the argument has always been, of course we can, because 80-90% of physio is all about education, advice and talking to patients. It's not about hands-on treatment that's often thought. It allows the physios to objectively assess the patient. So what we mean by this is if anyone's had physio, they will say, lift your arm up, let me see how you move it. On a telephone triage, you can say, lift your arm up, but the physio is meaning that way and the patient's doing that way. So it allows that objective assessment to make sure that the assessment is accurate. The live demonstration of exercise. So physio can demonstrate an exercise to the patient can repeat it back to the physio. Again, something that's not been there cause a barrier to traditional telephone. And then we've got that signposting, advice and education material, IPRS Health. So the physio can undertake the triage call, prescribe the exercises and also signpost them to further written materials to help them recover. So some of the key features, the triage call, as we've done now on our telephone triage call for safety, security, governance and legislation, we do record calls. Under this app, the triage call audio will continue to be captured and recorded for 9 years, according to legislation. What we've also got for the first time is that capture of consent. So normally we'd have to roll over a big, lengthy legal consent on the top of a triage call and then just rely on somebody to understand everything that's just been said. Now what we've got is before the triage call goes ahead, there is a actual written script that the patient has to physically consent to before undertaking the triage call. Again, a market leader and highly a good method of engagement in a very litigious sort of subject. All the information, education is live and updated on a regular basis, and these exercises continue to be personally prescribed to that individual. The management information that's collected is, as you've seen, patient information about their pain and their improvement, but also from a corporate and insurance perspective, some of that key engagement and performance improvements in functional capability and pain scores is all captured that can then be reported back to employees or insurance companies. So what we're going to do is bring out a live demo of it, just so everything I've talked about can be brought to live. There's going to be two screens. You're going to have the screen on the big one here is the clinician view. So this is what the physio is seeing in our call centre delivering the service. That's on the big screen. And on the app over there, we've got the patient, what they would see on their phone, tablet or desktop. So that's being displayed over there. So I'm going to hand over to the team. The audio you listen is live audio. It's not via the app. So we've noticed there's about a half-second delay, and obviously because you're hearing the audio as opposed to coming through the app. But other than that, I'll hand you over to the team to go live.
Good evening. So I'm going to play the part of the physio tonight as a physio. and we're going to start the call now to speak to Hank. So what we see is it will start to come on, and at the same time, the call will be activated.
All right, just having a look at the consent form there before I agree to that, so we can proceed with the call. That's obviously something you customized.
So we can see in the bottom right-hand corner why Hank does that. It says Hank has not consented, and as he consents,
There we
it
go.
allows me as the physio to realise that Hank has now consented to the video call, capturing that on our secure record, which makes a big difference. So, hi Hank, how are you?
I'm okay, but you know what? My shoulder actually is really bothering me.
Oh no. Okay, well look, let's first start off. It'd be really great if you could actually show me where the pain is today.
Yeah, okay, so the pain starts up here on the shoulder, radiates out down my arm,
Okay.
actually. So I don't know, I'm at a loss.
Okay. Well, look, let me see how best I can help it. First off, it's really good that I can actually see where the pain is and that whole area that's radiating to, as it gives me a much better idea of what potentially could be going on. Now, obviously associated with pain, a lot of times we can have affected movement. So how's the movement of your shoulder? Have you been having any difficulties recently?
Well, you know, here's the strange thing. So when I move my arm just a little bit down here at the bottom, I feel virtually nothing.
Okay.
Then I have a very painful area when I get to about this height, and it gets worse up until that point.
Okay.
And then it gets better again. And up here, I actually don't feel much at all.
Okay.
So yeah, so
Okay, well, relax the arm down. So, look, it's great to actually see. So when you had your arm held down below, out to the side, that's where it was okay. In that mid-range, it's starting to hurt, but up the top, it's getting better. And the area that you've actually shown me that pain, associated with that movement pattern, we call it a painful arc, having specific movements that are causing the pain, is really quite in touch with something we call shoulder impingement. Now, we want to get the shoulder moving, we want to get it nice and free. So there are some nice exercises that can actually relax the muscles around the front of the shoulder and allow that whole shoulder to start to move a little bit better. Now, what might be great is actually I can show you one of those exercises right now, and we can put it in your exercise bank a little bit later on. But I'll actually let you watch it right now. How does that sound?
that's great. So you're going to do an exercise for me yourself in front of the screen.
Yeah, so what actually I can do is bring up one of the videos within our system. It's going to come up in the top left-hand corner of your screen, and it's going to show you how to do it. Now, as you're doing the exercise, it will bring up, and if you can copy it, I'll watch you, and I'll give you feedback to make sure you're doing it in the best way.
All right,
So right now in the top left, you'll see there's a play button and an X. If you click the play, then you'll be able to watch the video, and I'll give you any tips and feedback I can.
Okay, all right, I'll do that.
Stand sideways to a door frame, one arm's length away. Hold the frame around chest height and take a small step forward on the leg closest to the wall. Keeping your chest up, rotate your body away from the wall until you feel a stretch across your chest and upper arm.
Good.
Hold this position.
That's excellent. Look, well, it's nice to see you getting into those positions and start to move through. You can probably relax back down now as we bring it in. One of the great areas, you did it nice, slow and controlled, and what we see a lot of time with patients when we can't actually see you doing the exercises, we go very quickly into the stretch and then very quickly back. But that doesn't give us the full benefit. So really good technique there. As you heard in the video, try not to let that shoulder hunch up because it doesn't allow the stretch to come through as much. How did it actually feel for you today?
Well, it was painful, obviously, but I can see that that's probably going to help me over time.
Exactly.
So thank you for that.
No problem at all. Look, let me get a range of other exercises for you. We'll get them all uploaded onto your app for the end of this call, and you can actually browse through those exercises at any time. You'll be able to let me know your pain scores on it, and then we can review it in a week's time to find out how you're getting on. But to be honest, I think if we can do these exercises just like you're doing that one there, you'll be right back on that road to recovery. Associated with that as well, in your app, there's at the bottom a little signpost to what we call myiprshealth.com. And what that's going to allow you to do is visit our site, and on that site there's a lot more information about shoulder pain and how you can manage it, but there's also general health and well-being advice, not to just help you get better now, but keep you better into the long term. Make sure these injuries don't come back. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you, Joe.
Excellent, no problem at all. Look forward to speaking to you in a week's time, and all the best with exercise in the meantime.
Okay, cheers, mate.
Bye.
Bye.
So obviously all we've been able to do is provide a very quick snippet of the triage call. We didn't feel it would be appropriate for you to listen to a full 25-minute, 30-minute call. We'd have to provide a lot more wine for that. But what we're doing over here, so Joe has signposted Hank to myipresshealth.com. So he's told him to go and search for some information. So Hank is just going to click on the shoulder. And maybe, I don't know, with my clinical hat on, it's definitely not adhesive capsulitis, but today it is. So we're going to hit on there adhesive capsulitis. And there's a video there that Hank's just going to click on along with some information.
Frozen shoulder is a condition also known as adhesive capsulitis. It affects, on the whole, around 2 to 3% of the population, and it goes up to around 20% if you have diabetes. It's more likely to affect you if you're a female and over the age of 40. So, what is adhesive capsulitis or frozen shoulder?
So what we've got on here is we've got more educational material. You heard Joe giving Hank some advice about his condition, but what myipresshealth.com allows is people to go searching for their own advice or directed by the physio onto myipresshealth.com to go and read some specific articles or go and listen to some specific videos. What we've got in the middle there, as I alluded to, is some general health and well-being advice, things like sitting well, drinking water, sitting in cars, driving, etc. That's all on there. And then what we've got is a live, somebody's just tweeted our app, which is awesome, so thanks for that. But we've got a live Twitter feed down the right-hand side that we generally use to cascade clinical information as well. So thanks for the demo. Round of applause for the team for doing a live demo. That's great.
It worked. So anyway, just to summarise really what we're doing, we do believe this is market leading. We do believe it is bringing things to the market that will drive it forward. Good single point of access for the patient, good advice, great reassurance, and a lot of education in the process. It's very secure, and as you can see, it can be incredibly interactive in the way that the service is delivered and move forward. So that was really what we wanted to look at. We're looking to roll it out. Clearly, we're going to roll it out through our existing clients from the triage and the case management, but also this opens areas up to really widen, the scale of what we do for our clients, because obviously we've got the on-site clinics where, say, shift workers, can then be looked at different times rather than just, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Out of hours, again, if you've got people who are working night shifts, they're coming off shift, they want the service then. They don't necessarily want it, 9 to 5. People at home, because they're absent. You don't necessarily want to brag them into a facility where actually you could use this service to do with that. And also the follow-up of DSEs. We do lots of DSE work where we go out, talk to an individual, help them set up their machines, help them sort out their details, and then there's normally a few weeks later a follow-up call. Well, actually the ability to do this through the app, could really drive home the fact, well, actually, are you doing what we've agreed? Are you actually sitting properly, doing these things? Really interesting stuff. But also we intend, because as the rest of our group does different things, about how we can use it into the non-physiotherapy services. So clearly it's around corporate wellbeing as we develop our integrated psych service this year. Again, there's no reason why this type of technology could not be used for delivering those types of services. So it widens the enable. And also for other healthcare professionals, we work in different areas and different stuff. It could be used for all sorts of stuff, whether there is a need for instance, a second opinion. Again, you can have a situation where you have a clinician in front of a patient. They're really unsure about what the situation is. And what they could then do is very quickly book a call and then being able to use the software to link it back to, say, the medical director or to somebody else. It could save a huge amount of time, and effort in the way that some of these things are dealing. So this is really what we think is fascinating about this technology, is that we start it in one area, but we can really see it spreading across the healthcare services really, really well and really easily. But start to address the areas that are so difficult at the minute to deliver, but actually create all the work and all the problems in the way the system goes forward. So, thank you for coming. This is how we plan to roll it out as we go through this year. We'd be delighted to talk to you about your clients and what we can do. There's so many different things that we can do with this. And I'll open the floor to any questions.